Hey everyone, welcome to the fireside chat. Today with me, I have Dheeraj Sinha, CEO of Leo Burnett South Asia, somebody I have interacted with over the years, somebody who I deeply admire, and I knew I had to have Dheeraj as part of this fireside chat. Dheeraj, welcome to Outliers 2022.
Thank you, Satej. Great to be talking to you here.
Lovely. So let's kick it off. I want to start talking about the rich history of Leo Burnett right from 1935. You have been a great partner in growth for a lot of brands. You won the trust of thousands of these brands from the world over thanks to the success that you've created for them. It wouldn't have been possible without that. So, as somebody who's led the team for almost a decade, there is a lot that you have seen, a lot that you have done. So, just want to understand from you today's brands, what are they expecting and what role do you play in their growth?
Yeah. So, Satej, if you look at the whole model of brand building, right, it's undergone a lot of change, especially in the last decade. So, classically, if you look at the whole idea of brands was that there's a core to the brand, right, and we said that advertising can only tell one message at a time. So, we built this whole idea of single-mindedness around that. Now that we reflect, we realize that the human brain is far more complex. It can hold many thoughts at one point in time, as far as they're interesting thoughts and they're significant thoughts, right? And therefore, this whole idea of, say, single mindedness was actually a supply side constraint, right? In a television spot, in a TV
Mhm.
driven world, you can only say one thing at a time. And therefore, we said that brands have to be single minded, right? However, in the world of, say, technology, where there are multiple platforms available to you to tell the stories, brands can actually be multiple minded. You can
Mhm.
run multiple narratives simultaneously. Talk something about your brand. You can be entertaining on a certain platform. You can talk about how to use it, and so on and so forth, right? So that's one fundamental difference which has happened today. The second big difference also, Satej, is that brands today, I mean, traditionally we always said, oh, it takes millions of years to build a brand,
Mhm.
right? And nothing is done more disservice to the idea of business, because therefore brand already become an indulgence. It became a cost, rather than something which powers business. The big difference today is that you are building a brand while you're building a business, and you're able to do it very, very rapidly. I mean, some of the biggest brands we know today didn't exist 10 years ago. Many of the brands we know today didn't exist 5 years ago. So
Absolutely.
there are enough and more cases of having rapidly scaled up brands which have significant and deep connection with people in a very, very short period of time. So I would say these are two big shifts which have happened in the space of how we build brands today, and that's redefining a lot of what we do around brands today than we used to say about 10 years back.
Yeah, even with subtle changes, you'll have to re-architect and redo things, and these are very, very massive changes, right? So,
Yes.
kudos to you and team for keeping in touch with the times and growing with brands of today. So, I just want to understand a little bit, given your rich legacy and deep background, a lot of brands might be intimidated. They might not even know if Leo Burnett is a good partner for them because they might be too small, they might be too early, too late, any of those things. So just want to understand from you who you think are your ideal partners. What sort of companies are best suited to work with your team? What sort of problems should they solve with your team?
Yeah. So see, nowadays when we get a client, I mean, we don't get a client to say, we want to do a campaign and help us do a campaign. We'll get clients and they'll tell us, this is what our objective is. This is
Mhm.
our business. This is what we do, including saying that we want to go for an IPO in a year's time. So all kinds of problems are welcome, but we welcome clients who are willing to share the business problem, their larger objective with us, and then we work with them to solve that problem. Now the solution could be a campaign, could be some other idea, could be embedding a product thought back into the product, and so on and so forth, right? Because we understand people and we understand brands, and we can bring them together to the advantage of the business. So that's really the play that we like. Of course, we work best with clients who are willing to be partners, who are willing to be part of our thought process, because it'll be arrogant of us to say that we can solve for everything. Because if
Mhm.
you're the guy who's running that business, you know the pains much more than I would. I know the comms and the people side of the business. So our best workers come when clients are willing to give that time, are willing to come to the table, and the senior most clients, and they're willing to be partners, right? We don't differentiate in terms of size, scale, category of the opportunity at all. I mean, to our minds, once you are in Leo Burnett, no matter what size you are, what scale you are, you'll get the same attention, and it's our job to make our clients successful. Right, and we do a lot of work with new age clients. We are working with clients who are just about gotten the first round of funding. Right, we're also
Wow.
working with clients who are turning unicorns. We are working with clients who are now about to get into IPO. So we have all size and scale. We like working with clients where we can make a meaningful difference, and in a long term we can get them to a real big success.
Sounds absolutely thrilling. It almost sounds like you're sitting on this, magic key that you can use to unlock the right message to the right audience, and people just have to know that they can partner with somebody like you. A lot of folks might think they have an understanding of the business, their customers, and things like that, but they might not know that they could work with somebody like Leo Burnett to really take it to the next level. So that's interesting to
Yeah,
know. And I wanted to switch gears a little bit to talk about technology, because one is that's how our relationship really started with
yeah,
you and I really talking about your passion for technology, data, tools. How do you want to connect all of those to really add value to folks? Because those are the
yeah,
kind of ways in which you are working with your customers. So also, I personally have, from the experience that I've had, I've seen that agencies are actually at the forefront of technology, whether it is building a lot of in-house tools or looking for best of breed technology so that they can do their operations a lot better. Because like you mentioned,
yeah,
you work with companies across stages. Some might be too old school and not really adopting
yeah,
technology, some might be too early, might not have the scale that you have, right? So tell me a
yeah,
little bit about how you look at technology, what sort of tooling you have internally, what sort of folks you
yeah,
work with within the team.
yeah. So we use technology in two different ways. One is technology as part of using data technology in terms of automation, digital platforms, etc., to serve communications. And there we look at it at three-tiered perspective. So we're looking at top funnel work that we do, where you would use data to inform our insights and build a larger brand narrative that gets pushed out. That's the traditional work that agencies do. Just that we do it with a lot of data, insight, understanding of platforms, etc. So that's one top funnel work that we do. Then we do a mid funnel piece of work where it's about engagement on platforms, where you take the narrative of the brand, but you are more conscious of the platform that that narrative is played
Absolutely.
out, right? So if it's being played out on a share chat or Moj, or is it being played out on a LinkedIn versus Instagram, right? The way you will play that narrative changes. So a lot of understanding of platforms, a lot of understanding of interest cohorts, data goes into building that body of work, which is mid funnel. And then this bottom funnel body of work, which is largely performance led creative, but done through the perspective of the brand. Right, the
Mhm.
big gap in the market today is that performance is done by somebody even within the organization, and the top funnel is looked by somebody else, and the two don't talk to each other, and you have an inefficient narrative structure for the brand. So we take the narrative all the way to the performance creatives, and there we use, of course, data and targeting and cohort based thinking, but also a lot of automation at that level. So this is one way where data technology is coming together in the traditional part of building advertising and narrative. The other very interesting place of using technology, Satej, is, for example, we built these smart poles about 4 years back called Roads That Honk. So these are two smart poles which we plant on two sides of a U-pin bend on the road.
Mhm.
Right, and so it maps an oncoming traffic and honks on the other side, so that there are no head-on collisions
Oh,
on
interesting.
U-pin bends,
Mhm.
right? And there are 736 such U-pin bends in the country. And this project started about 4 years back. Now we have reignited the project, and we this these set of posts now are, they have been trained on AI and machine learning.
Very
So now
good.
they can recognize whether the oncoming traffic is a truck or a cow or a human being. Are there two vehicles coming back to back, so that honks only once? So it's become far more intelligent now. We are collecting data, is connected to Amazon Web Server. We have a dashboard. So that's the other use of technology, where we're actually building products using cameras, connecting them with a backbone of a cloud system, and so on and so forth. So this is a pure technology product developed to solve a problem and for a brand which stood for road safety and so on and so forth. We also very recently did a piece for Airtel where we recreated Kapil Dev's unbeaten 175, which was not recorded ever, but
Oh
created
wow.
it with Kapil Dev and not with another actor. So we actually scanned Kapil Dev, plotted all the shots, created the whole environment in CG, de-aged Kapil Dev, built a model around him, and got him to play all over again those shots. So
Correct.
that's another way we are using technology to solve problems or create narratives in advertising.
Terrific. So that's why I think it's so interesting whenever I talk to you, because I hear all of these things that people might not have perspective about, because they might have this
Yes.
very reductive Don Draper like feeling that Dheeraj walks into a room, he and his team will have these swashbuckling ideas and some campaign goes live, right? But a lot of this kind of stuff happens. And Dheeraj, one thing that you had talked about, even though we are talking about technology, one thing I want to hear from you is the people part of it, because you had talked about
Yeah.
some very interesting kind of personalities that work in your team, ethnologists and whatever other thing, anthropologists
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, can you tell me more about the people who use this technology?
Yeah. So the profile of people that work at Leo Burnett, we call them mutant DNAs, right? So the whole idea is that you're good at something, but you're also very, very good at something else. So you're a great strategist, but you devour data. You're a great art person, but you love tech, right? You're a great copywriter, but you're very, very good in say installations or something else. So the whole culture is being built around these mutant DNAs, right? People who are hungry, who like mixed arts, they're not wedded to one form of art, and they use that palette of technology, data, creativity to solve problems in a very, very interesting way. So that's the profile of people we hire, nurture, train, etc., etc. The whole talent system is also very hourglass structure. So we have leaders, and then we have very young and energetic people at the bottom. We pretty much have a very negligible middle,
Hmm.
right? And that's designed on purpose, because we want to work with young new age talent, but we also want to give them huge amount of headroom to be able to front end projects and see their work out there, rather than get caught into the layers of the organization, which is what was beginning to happen in our business, say about a decade ago. So that's how it is changing in terms of abilities. You will have anybody. I mean, we have a team which my credit partner Raj runs. We call it Apollo 11, right? That team has people from IIT. There's a guy who's an aerospace
Or
engineer.
the team
We have
taking moonshots.
data people, yeah, all of that, and very young. I mean, the average age of that team would be 22, 25,
Hmm.
right? And with diverse capabilities of data, tech, engineers, designers, artists, and all of them just dedicated to solving problems, human problems, in unique different ways.
Love it. So now, Dheeraj, I want to come to a topic that is very close to my heart. My team and I, we live and be the creatives. That is something that is top of mind for us. And also, one narrative that we hear more and more is that in this age of algorithms, where platforms are doing most of the work, creative is now the last bastion for marketers to extract performance, to stand out from their competition, and things like that. So, because we build visual technology, I would love to believe this. But as somebody
Yeah.
who works with brands, as somebody who's responsible for helping them grow, what is the reality? Do you believe creative content and visuals play a role? Are they important? Are they the most important thing, or it doesn't really matter?
See, dramatically, right? I would say, right? I mean, it's a wrong statement to say that people nowadays, especially youth, say Gen Z and millennials, don't have say attention span, right? I mean, I challenge people who say that to say, how come then they binge watch, say, a Netflix series all night?
Mhm.
Of course, we have attention span, but people have lost attention span for poor quality content, for poor
Mhm.
quality work, right? I mean, uh, I think we lost this.
We are fine, Dheeraj. We can go on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, I can't see you. Just 1 second. Yeah,
yeah.
got it. So I think what people have lost attention for poor quality content, poor quality. stimulus, right? So the job of creative, I mean, we just did a campaign for Spotify, which ran on IPL, and we've had people come and tell us that we're searching those ads on YouTube and watching it.
Wow.
Right, right. So it's about making things interesting, and that's where, as I say, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "Oh my God, this morning should I brush my tooth with Pepsodent or should I use Colgate?" Right? People don't wake up wanting to use brands. People wake up with their own life issues. Maybe your house help didn't turn up, maybe your car got bust, or maybe you have to reach for a meeting. Brands have to find interesting ways to become part of people's lives, right? Now, say about 10 years back, people would be in front of a screen called television for 1 hour or 2 hours. Today people are in front of a screen 24 by 7, right? And there are 24
Absolutely.
by 7 opportunities for creativity to interact with you, to reach you. And there was that much more pressure for creativity to be interesting so that you stop and you interact with it, right? So huge role of creativity in building brands, arresting people's attention, getting the message down. Huge role simultaneously of data and technology as well. So it's not
Absolutely.
either or,
Yeah.
right? So with that sharp data, sharp insight, you tell me that this audience wakes up in the morning, the first thing she looks at is her LinkedIn and not her Instagram.
Mhm.
I will devise a very different stimulus for her than if I was going blind, right? I would take the same piece and paste it across platforms. Some of the work that you help marketers do is customized for platforms, right? And stuff like that, because you're bringing in that knowledge of how people are consuming content. So huge role of data, huge role of technology in enabling creativity to become magical. So I actually feel it's one large narrative. It's not
Absolutely.
either or.
Absolutely. And as somebody who has started this journey at Leo Burnett, the company itself has started, almost 100 years ago. The core doesn't change, which is that eventually people have limited attention span. A brand is trying to get somebody's time, so you have to talk in the language that the person understand. Earlier there
Yeah,
was a limited channel, limited, but maybe much more time per channel. Now the bar has gone up for quality and what people are consuming, but there are infinite screens where people could consume
yeah,
this content, right? And
yeah,
technology also
absolutely.
gives you the chance to segment and show different people different things, to experiment, and now you get data and a lot more insights than earlier having to do a survey and things like that,
Yeah,
right? So the world has changed in many ways, but in many ways it has remained the same. It's not like today's marketers have a much harder time or a much easier time. There were different challenges at different points, but one of the reasons why we are even doing this event and we are calling it outliers is exactly that, which is that there are many more marketers, many more brands vying for people's attention, and you need to stand out in it. And
yeah.
somebody like you and your team who helps people stand out, that is why we wanted to start Outliers 2022 with you. So really appreciate your time, Dheeraj. If there are any parting words, would love to hear that.
No, thank you so much. I think this is a fantastic platform, and the work that you're doing, Satej, with your team is amazing, because I feel the future lies at the cusp of data, creativity, and technology. Right, that's where the magic is going to happen, and I'm just enjoying the fact that today we have such a rich palette to play with in our business.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So, on that note, we are ending our fireside chat. Thank you to all for attending.
Thank you so much.